Hey, what's up, good people? Shelby here. Welcome to my channel. And it's time to talk about the monkey in the room, okay? The elephant in the room. Contouring and highlighting and how you're not doing it right. I am not an expert. We've already established that. Totally self-taught. I know what I like. I know what I'd prefer never to see again. And I'm going to share with you people who follow me and who seem to like the way that I do my makeup, how and why I do what I do when I do it. That's what we're going to talk about. So if you are new to my channel, like, comment, subscribe, join the family. And if you would like to see my explanation of what the heck is going on, stay tuned. And don't forget to stay till the end to hear about the giveaway for this month. Okay, so let's hop into this. Okay, so welcome back. I already put on my foundation and my color corrector. If you want a video on color correcting and foundation choices, choosing your primer, let me know down in the comments. I'm totally willing. We have time right now. Let's get into some basics, some details. Let's take it step by step. And that's what we're going to do today, okay? So first, let's talk about building this face. I'm going to insert a picture right here. And this is that face where you see the light on the inside, you see the darker colors on the outside, and that what you're doing is you're contouring and shaping and highlighting the face to whatever suits your purposes. Today we're going to go about like medium glam, and I guess the best way to think about this is on like a scale. The closer your colors are together, your highlight and your contour, the closer they are together, the more natural and everyday daytime something will look. The farther apart they are, as in your darkest dark and your lightest light, the farther apart they are on the scale, the more defined, sharp, chiseled, dramatic, and nighttime your look is going to be. So for example, here's a photo, okay? If you notice, the center part of her face and the contour, or the darker part, the edge of her forehead, underneath her cheekbones, maybe even her jawline, all of that, the color, it's not too far away. The lightness to the darkness is not that drastic. It's very subtle, right? This photo, on the other hand, you can see it's pretty structured, like the darkest darks underneath her jawline and around the shape of her face, maybe even right here along the outsides of her nose. They're very dark. They're deeper toned, right? They may be cooler, they may be warmer, but they're deeper toned. The inner part of her face and potentially underneath her underneath her cheekbones is much lighter. So you get a starker contrast. It looks more glamorous, and that's what you traditionally would consider dramatic, right? So today we're going to go kind of middle of the road, all right? And I'm going to talk about a mixture of products when it comes to creams and powders to use for your highlight, your contour, and your bronzing. Okay. And there are so many things on the market. There's face palettes, and there are like trios, and I'll show you these in more detail in a second, but there's all these things on the market. They come in powders, they come in sticks, they come in creams. There's so many choices, right? And so we're going to talk a little bit about all of them, and we are going to make a face. So before we talk about the individual types of products, powder versus cream, let's talk about what contour is versus what bronzing is, and then highlighting, okay? So bronzing is when you're going to bring warmth to the face. You put it in very similar areas to contour, which we'll get to in a second, but it looks as if you've had a tan. It's all the high points of your face where the sun hits and your melanin kind of shows up. You get a little warmer if you're on a beach somewhere instead of stuck inside your house because of COVID. And so you'll see people put bronzer here, and you'll see them put it here on the high points of their cheeks, very close to where they would put a shimmery highlight as opposed to an under eye highlight. Two different things, okay? So your bronzer would generally go here and here. So around the perimeter of your face, it kind of makes like a half circle situation. It's kind of a C and a C, okay? Now your contour goes in similar places, although depending on your face, you might only want your contour in one place. Some people like to put contour here to kind of shape and even shrink the size of their forehead, or shape their forehead where the light shows. And then also, the most popular place to put it is here underneath the cheekbones in line with the top of the ear, because it makes the cheekbones look set in more, creates a shadow, and then your face look real snatched, okay? So when you want your face, you put contour down here, okay? Contour is usually cooler toned, okay? That means it's not as warm. It doesn't look reddish. It doesn't look sun-kissed. It looks like shadows. If you think about shadows as in like under a tree, like the shadow you know, not like eyeshadow. When you think about shadow, they tend to be cooler toned. They're closer to like, they're kind of a gray-y, kind of a bluey undertone, okay? They're not going to be warmer, redder, more purple, okay? They're going to feel like just they're grayer in tone, but not gray, just grayer. You also sometimes will see people put contour down here, and sometimes they'll put it here to shape their nose and shape their jaw. For a more natural look, you're probably not going to put a heavy contour really anywhere. You'll do some, but you won't do a whole lot. Let's talk about highlight, okay? When we say highlight, I don't mean highlighter. I mean under eye highlight, okay? That's where in this photo that we looked at a second ago, you see the product underneath the eye right here, right? Usually people use cream or they use liquid. You tend not to see a powder highlight underneath the eye, and that is going to be in the middle of the face. So think the triangle space here from the outer, just inside the outer edge of your eyes, and moving in toward the nose, okay? That's the basic place to put highlight, pretty much in the middle of your face, where you want your face to be brighter, draw the eye, most of the attention and most of the effort you put into your face, which is usually your eyes, is in the middle, right? Even here in the middle of your face. You'll put a little bit here, maybe a little under your nose, and then here on the middle of your forehead. Gives the face a natural, healthy look. It also creates dimension on your face. Dimension is important because when you put on foundation, especially if it's a full coverage foundation and you're not under a light like this that automatically reflects off of all the high points, your face can look real flat. I think we've talked about plank face. I don't want you to worry about plank face, okay? Highlight, bronzer, contour, 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 okay? Building this photo right here. All right, let's talk about products. There's a couple different ways to achieve said face, okay? There are powders, both pressed powders in quads or in individual containers. This is the Black Radiance Face Contour Palette True Complexion right here. It's got 3 items in there. This is the Cover FX Face Palette right here. It's got a plethora of things. Plethora of things in there. I also have one from MAC. This was a holiday set right here. This one has a contour, a blush, and a shimmer highlight, not an under eye highlight in it. And then lastly, you've got your individuals like this Bobbi Brown one right here. So those are examples of pressed powders, and there's a mix of bronzers and contours in what I just showed you. Then you have loose powders, okay? Now, loose powders, generally bronzers and contour are not loose powder. However, a deeper toned brown setting powder can also act like a bronzer or a contour depending on what color it is. And I may use this today, but this is the Fenty in the shade Hazelnut. For creams and sticks. So the Rihanna Match Sticks are super popular. There is a whole nother extension line of this coming out. These are cream products that look like this, and they come in both contour shades, under eye highlight shades, and I believe there's some that are warm enough to be bronzers, but she's releasing cream blushes and bronzers that you can also wear. And then of course the cream. And cream you can see in both under eye highlight and in bronzing. There's also something you can use for contour. I have a few, but they're not my favorite, but I don't use them that much. So the combination I'm going to use today for my softer look is going to be, and I don't say softer like like these air quotes, it's definitely going to be softer, but my more natural, everyday, daytime face, I'm going to use a cream contour, going to use a powder bronzer, and a liquid under eye highlight, okay? So first thing I'm going to do, you always do liquids and creams on top of liquids and creams and powders on top of that. It's very uncommon for you to mix like powder and then cream on top. Like that's like, you're gonna play yourself. Don't play yourself. It's not It's not worth it. Whatever you think is going to happen, it's not worth it. Save yourself. Save your face. All right. So I'm going to go in with a stick product from Oma Beauty. Okay. And I am going to put my contour in line with the top of my ear. Okay. And you can do this directly from the stick, or you can rub it on the back of your hand to warm it up, because cream products should be warmed up to apply them well so they blend well. So today I'm going to do one of each. All right. So I'm going to warm it up on the back of my hand. You can see that's the shade that it is right there. All right. And then I'm going to use this warmed up product, and I'm going to draw a line there. Okay. In line with the top of my ear, in far enough to just outside the line of my brow. Okay. Not all the way in here, just inside the line of my brow. Now, depending on the structure of your face, you might have to play around with this, but generally don't go past the tip of your brow. Otherwise, you're going to play yourself. All right. I'm going to take a brush, and there's a couple of different brush choices, of course, that you can use. For my preference, I will usually use something like a blush brush, or I will use a pointed brush, okay? Like a denser, pointed, fluffy brush, okay? Because I want control, but I want it to be able to mix, okay? So I'm going to take the product that's on the back of my hand, and I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to go into the same area that I went in on the other side, which is just above this, just in line with the top of my ear, okay? And when you do it on the back of your hand, you have a lot more control because it transfers much, much slower. It's also halfway blended already, okay? If it helps, you can, one of those, and move toward the middle of your face. You see that it's a very natural, subtle shadow right there, but it shapes my face. Do the same on the other side. Even though I've drawn this on, I'm still going to do the same motion. I'm going to blend up toward my eye and toward the center of my face, okay? And as you're blending up near your hairline, you want to blend up, but you also kind of want to just kind of like fade this product out when you get up here, because you want it to blend well, and small circles or short strokes is fine. Whatever's comfortable for you is fine. Just take your time and build it up, because you can't take it off. You can always add more, but you can't take it off. And as you get to the top, it's okay to, change the stroke, change the angle, whatever you need to do to get this to look like you want it to look. And be patient. You can also do this with a beauty blender. I do like the dome-shaped kind of a brush like this, or the pointed blender like this, just because I feel like it can sometimes feel a little bit more natural. But if you use your beauty blender, it's the same kind of motion. It's still up. It's still patting. I'm moving it toward the middle of your face. Okay. You can also do both if you would like to smooth it out. I'm also going to add a little bit of that cream product in the middle of my face, because I do want to do a very small contour. So I'm going to take this also smaller kind of version of my my powder brush. This is kind of like a contour. This is a concealer brush from Juno & Co. I'm going to take a little bit of this product, not a lot at all. I'm actually going to wipe a little bit of the excess off in the back of my hand. And then I'm going to run this just right here between the point of the head of my brow, and then just a little there, just about down halfway on the nose. If you want a really sculpted nose, you can go down farther, but when you blend, it ends up traveling anyway. So I'm kind of pushing it up into the base of my brow, like that, and doing my best to make sure that it's even on the sides, okay? So just follow this natural line that you have from the bottom of the head of your brow down to maybe just below that tear duct area. And then I'm going to take the same brush and I'm going to blend this in, okay? It's going up and down, not spreading it, and definitely not erasing my brow. Just doing some good blending. so that I have more shadows, okay? So let's talk about liquid under eye highlight. Now, I prefer a more golden under eye. Some people like a very bright, kind of whitish kind of under eye, depending on your skin tone, depending on your undertones and what you like, you're gonna pick. So the difference, for example, would be this is a much cooler, neutral undertone. It's also lighter, whereas this one is close. It's a deeper tone, but it's cooler. This one is more golden. It's not that much deeper in tone, but it has more yellow in it, so it looks more natural and more skin-like. So I'm gonna take this, and you can, again, you can use the applicator on the tool, which is what I normally do, or you can apply it with a brush, and then you can then blend it in with the brush or a beauty blender. I'm gonna go ahead and apply it with the applicator, because I like this applicator. This is my Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion Concealer in 4W. All right. Okay. Some people like the right under the eye method. Now, either way, you're still going to blend them out, no matter which one you choose, okay? I'm also going to put some on my forehead, a half arch, and then maybe a line, and a little half circle. It's totally up to you how much highlight you want. The more you put here, though, the more attention will be drawn to the middle of your forehead, okay? So if you got a big old forehead, don't do a whole lot of highlight. If you have a very small forehead, maybe do more if you'd like for it to seem bigger. I don't know if people who have small foreheads want some bigger forehead. I don't know the small forehead struggle. I just know almost big but not giant forehead struggle. I'm going to put a little bit of this underneath here, and then I'm going to give that a second to dry down. Now, while you wait for things to dry down, you can go get a cup of water, you can open up some kombucha, you can do whatever makes you happy. But make sure you do it with a concealer that you know how long it will take to dry down. Now, I know what you're going to ask me. I know. 1, what flavor kombucha is this? This is cherry berry. 2, why do people let their concealer dry down? People let their concealer dry down because it increases the coverage, okay? If you use a super full coverage concealer, then you don't have to let it dry down, especially if it's more of a highlight as opposed to concealing or hiding something. If you don't have discoloration on your forehead, for example, then you might just, go ahead and blend in your concealer pretty quickly because you don't need it to cover anything. You just need it to highlight, which is why you might call it a highlight instead of really a concealer on your forehead. All right, and with this, I am blending it in some small circular motions and blending it up and a little bit down the middle of my nose, trying not to erase my brows. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Do the same thing underneath my chin, underneath my lip rather. Again, I love these brushes. They're so multi-purpose, and they also make it easier for me not to have to wash so many brushes. So the under eye. Now, for the under eye, most people use a beauty blender. You can also use the brush. Both are acceptable. And the blending motion that I'm going to do, whether it's this one or this one, is I'm going to either blend outward this way, or I'm just going to blend where it is, okay? Because I want to light the middle of my face. So for here, I'm going to start on the outside, and I'm going to blend and connect these two. I don't know why I closed my eye. There we go. I'm kind of giving a pressing and a pulling, blending motion to this movement. I'm not asking it to spread very far. I do not want it to spread out too far past my brow, okay? It may be outside my eye, the corner of my eye, but not too far, because I'm trying to light this part of my face. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Blending down the side of my nose. out to highlight the planes of my face that I want to draw attention to, and underneath the eye. And you always, always, always go back over places where two colors meet, where my concealer met, where my contour met my concealer. I want to make sure they come together as if they were made to. I don't want to see any harsh lines there. Now with a brush, I can just kind of go over both and just blend them in together. With a beauty blender, I have to have a little bit more care because beauty blenders, one, they can suck things up, but they also can spread more. They both have the potential, but as you get more comfortable with this process, it's going to get easier. I'm going to use this beauty blender to go over the place, actually over all of this. I'm going to squeeze it just like that. There's nothing on this part of the blender. I use this part from my foundation. I'm using this part to make sure that all the concealer is blended, that I don't have any spots or unevenness anywhere. That I've blended out all my edges, and then everything is kind of dried down and set itself, okay? I'm going to go over the outer perimeter right here, because even though you may not be able to see it, depending on how well you blended, this is where your concealer is meeting your contour, okay? And you want to make sure that the two have a nice, even gradient. Otherwise, you get that line that people have sometimes. So let's talk about powders. For the under eye, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set my under eye with a translucent powder, and then I will highlight a little bit with a highlighting powder. Now the purpose of the under eye powder is to, one, hold your concealer in place, but two, it can also add some brightness to the face. Just like the bronzer powders, their purpose is not only to potentially set, because I use them to set. I don't actually do a whole all over the face setting powder usually. They will set anything that's dark colored without changing its color, but they will also add definition to that part of the face, okay? So I'm gonna go in with, I'm only gonna go in with one, but I'll show you both. So this is a Laura Mercier translucent powder. I'm in the deep category when it comes to skin tones, but I'm not in the deepest category when it comes to brown skin women. So I can do this powder under my eye and not get flashback. Some people cannot. Some women actually do get flashback with this powder, and so they would prefer a tinted powder or a golden powder like the honey powder from Fenty, or the loose setting powder from Black Radiance, which is a drugstore brand and is more affordable. Either one is fine. They're both golden tone because I prefer a golden under eye, but you can go a little bit cooler, like in the shade Cashew, which is brightening and will set, or you can go translucent, which is, it's a little brightening, but it's mostly just setting. So I'm going to take my beauty blender, I'm going to squeeze it, I'm going to get some product on it, dump off any excess, and I'm going to lightly press it underneath my eye in the places that I put my concealer, okay? And I'm going to put some over my eye too. Don't have to do this, but I like to do it. Okay. Look at the difference. This is the side. It's a little smoother for sure, okay? And a light amount of powder will set it. It will mattify it a little bit, not a lot, just a little. And it also smooths, okay? This side is not set. Now, this is a slightly more radiant concealer, so it still has glow, but it's not a dewy concealer, so it doesn't look shiny, all right? So the difference is it's very subtle because I'm looking for subtle. The more powder I put on, the more dramatic it will look, okay? Even if I use this mix of these two light ones and I use a middle of the road bronzer, the more powder I put on, the more drastic this is gonna look, okay? So I'm gonna do the same on the other side. With what is left in the cap, which is not a lot, I'm going to take this flat brush, I'm gonna swirl it in here, and I'm gonna give myself a slight reverse contour, okay? With powder and with a light amount of powder, you can get a really nice setting slash like defining effect when you do this underneath the jaw. So I'm gonna take this, dusting off a little, and I'm going to go beneath where I put my contour. You can kind of see it, it's really subtle, but if I put the powder down there, it gets a little stronger. And I am buffing it in. I'm not baking. I'm just kind of setting and defining, okay? And I think the thing that people may or may not know about makeup is that there's levels to it. There's levels to this game. There's levels to it. All of these things, again, going beneath my contour, all of these steps are designed to make a cohesive effect on your face. No single thing is supposed to transform your face. Because I think that's how you get really, really, really stark contrast on the face and how it stops being natural looking. Even if it's dramatic, it can still look natural. Sometimes people put on makeup for the daytime that looks so dramatic it's practically theatrical, okay? And not like good drag queen theatrical, like bad off-Broadway did your makeup underneath the stage theatrical, okay? That's not what we're going for. We're going for a cohesive effect on the face, okay? Now, bronzers, okay? Let's talk about bronzers. So I really like bronzers, all right? So there are 2 bronzers that I have here with me. I showed you 4 sets of pressed powders, all right? And the bronzer that I want to use is actually one of these 2, okay? This is the Bobbi Brown Bronzing 3 powder. It's redder, but it's kind of cool, okay? It's not really a chocolatey color. This is the bronzer from MAC. It doesn't actually have a name, but it's more chocolatey, okay? But it's warmer, but because this is somehow red and not warm, I don't know how to explain why this works, but it does, okay? But for today, how do I feel? I don't know how I feel. For today, I'm going to go in with this bronzing powder, okay? And the brush you can use for bronzing, you can totally use this. If you have this Shark Bite brush, you can also use this. This is from Fenty, okay? You take this, you kind of give yourself that nice little sweep, you know, whatever, all right? Tap it off so you don't do too much. And then with a light hand, you will fit this right on this curve, this hump of your cheekbone, okay? And it is actually in the same kind of location that your contour was put. We talked about this. You put it there. You're also going to put it on the perimeter of your face, all right? So on this side, I'm going to use it like it's shaped. On the other side, I will not, okay? So let me start here. Okay. And I'm dusting inward toward the center of my face, taking my time and bringing it down here, still kind of brushing and gently feathering this color onto my face. And with a light hand, I can go back and forth and not worry that I'm doing too much, okay? The other side, I'm gonna get a little bit more product, and I'll still do the same brushing motion at the hairline to warm me up, okay? And then here, I'm going to start at the same place that I started for contour, and I'm going to brush up toward the middle of my face, almost to the apple of my cheek, but not that far. And I'm kind of just continuing this C shape of kind of above my brow bone, right like at the edge of my face, not quite my hairline. I don't want it in my hair, but just outside the hairline, and down along this curve. So it looks like I got me some sun, like I saw a beach, okay? Like I saw a beach. Now the placement of the bronzer is interesting because if you choose a bronzer that is warmer toned and you place it in these areas where I've just mentioned that most people will place them, it can double as blush. You don't have to do blush unless you just want to. But in this part of the face, on most people's faces, even if you have a giant face, like the bronzer, contour, blush, and highlight, they're like kissing cousins. They're all very close. I mean, you only have one face, so they're going to be close, but they're definitely close. So I'm going to do my eyes off camera, and I'll be back, and we can finish up our little chat. Okay, so, lips are on, and I think, what else did I say I was going to do? I was going to wing my eyes, and I did my eyes and my lips. did I do a lot of stuff while I was gone? Let's see. I did my eyes and my lips. That's really all I did. It just looks like I did some stuff. But yeah, the pink vibe is back. I don't know why it is, but I think my skin likes pink. So I give it pink frequently enough. But anyways, okay. So this is daytime skin. I went a little extra on the eyes, but depending on where you're going, you could pull this off. You know, you got brunch, you know, that flows into a day party, that flows into drinks later on. You good, okay? But anyway, so the face, okay? And the ponytail is crooked. Smooth it. Okay, there we go. Okay. So the face is subtle. I have structure, but I'm not super like harsh, dramatic lines, or rather high drama nighttime features and bronzing and contour and highlight. This could be a daytime face depending on what you do with the eyes. So it's pretty versatile. I hope that I was able to give you some helpful tips, tricks, general information. I know that there are a lot of choices out there, not just for makeup videos to watch, but for techniques and methods. And I think it's really important that you take some time, honestly, while we're trapped inside, and play around. A lot of brands have sales going on, and if you know even one foundation shade that matches you, you can find a good highlight and contour, okay? I know Juvia's Place has a sale right now. I know Sephora has a sale. Oma doesn't have a sale, but they're always worth your coins. ColourPop has a sale on right now, and they're super affordable. Like, you are able to find some good stuff to play with. I really like the Fenty Matchstick Trios because they come in trios based on your skin tone. So like my trio, because I am a 380, 390, depending on the hydrating or the matte formula, my trio was the Yacht Life, Latte, and Truffle set that comes in. They're magnetized, they come together, okay? And this has an under eye highlight and a contour and a blush, right? Or blush slash pinky highlighter, depending on who you are and how you feel about your life. You can also just pick others, right? Oma Beauty has a really cool system where once you know what color kingdom you're in, you can match up your under eye highlight and your contour and highlight, like sparkly highlight stick, together. So for example, I'm in the Bronze Venus category, so that helped me pick not only my foundation, it helped me pick my under eye concealer, and it helped me pick my contour shade, as well as a flattering highlight. If you're interested in cream, like my Laura Mercier, or like this MAC 24-hour concealer that I like to use for bronzer, and sometimes for contour, you can go deeper for contour. If you know your shade, you can go pretty much 1 to 2 shades in either direction to find your highlight and your contour slash bronzer, depending on whether it's warm or cool, okay? So for example, if I know that my shade in Laura Mercier is 6W, right? Then I will pick 4W as my under eye highlight, and I will use 8W, I believe there's an 8W, as my contour or my bronzer, depending on it being warm or cool. Makeup is not rocket science, but it is a process. Everybody's face is different, and there are no rules really that work for everyone. Sis, we're quarantined, okay? You have time to perfect something. If that is your goal during this quarantine season, let me help you. Tell me what you want to see. Brows, lashes, lipstick colors, neutrals, pinks, colorful eye looks, wing liner, whatever you want to learn how to do. I got time. I am here for you, okay? If you want to find out what your perfect blush shade is, I could show you some of my favorites, okay? All we have is time. So, let's use it wisely. Let's come out with a win, okay? We don't have to stay here and just be doldrum and sad and, you know, weighed down by the quarantine. Like, I'm gonna come out with a quarantine perfected beat. That's what I'm gonna come out of this with. What do you want to learn? What can I show you? Comment down below, okay? And I think that along with my regular giveaway for this month, I'm gonna give y'all some coronavirus friendly straws. I got some metal straws and a cleaning like straw bristle thingy. I'm gonna give that to one of y'all. They are gold, sis. They are bougie. And if you clean them yourself, then they're virus proof. So let's do this together.